I want to share this with you, what God has been showing me and teaching me recently in this theme. So in Proverbs 4:23, it does say, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. And this is so important. Of course, we must always, always guard our heart at all times. But at the same time, we need to be willing to keep our heart open and not put walls and barriers up, because people can get offended, they can get hurt by what someone else did, they can have these traumas triggered and things like that, and then it causes us to put our guard up. So now we're guarded again, and then we heal ourselves, we do the forgiveness, and then we put the walls down again, but then something else happens. So it's always going to be the case that there's always going to be things happening. There's always going to be cases where something may come up which could potentially offend you. If you let it offend you, someone will betray you again, someone will hurt you again. It's just unavoidable. Those things are going to happen. They're going to happen again and again and again. And we have to be aware of that and not allow our heart to be shut down. We need to work to remain with an open heart and to remain loving and forgiving towards other people, just as it says in about forgiveness. It says, forgive one another. Be kind to one another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another as God in Christ forgave you. Ephesians 4:32. With this, though, guarding your heart, but then keeping your heart open at the same time, and not letting all the things that happen in life cause you to close down. We need to be careful with this, because we must be mindful of who we spend our time with and who we hang around. Not to hang around people who have bad characters, because as it says in 1 Corinthians 15:33, bad company corrupts good character. Do not be deceived. Bad company corrupts good character. So we wouldn't go and hang out with people who would be considered bad company and deceive ourselves, and then we've got an open heart and we're opening ourselves up to that. So we have to be mindful about who we are spending time with closely. Not that we can't sit with sinners or be with sinners or love sinners, I'm not saying that, but who we spend our time with closely and knit ourselves closely with, we have to be mindful of that. And also to not take offense as much, because it says in Proverbs 18:19 that a brother offended is more unyielding than a strong city, and quarreling is like the bars of a castle. So offense causes us to be very unyielding, just like a strong city, and it's not good to be in that state. We don't want to put ourselves in that type of state. So being very careful who we spend time with. Why is that? Because we also see in 1 Corinthians 10:19-21, where there's a lot of talk about idols here, and people who make things into idols and who don't have a relationship with God and who don't focus on God. And what that does, these people have demons. It says that an idol is anything, or what is offered to idols is anything, rather that the things which the Gentiles sacrifice, they sacrifice to demons and not to God. I do not want you to have fellowship with demons. So we have to be very mindful as well that we do not have fellowship with demons. God does not want us to have fellowship with demons, and that includes people who are heathens, are willingly in sin, keep choosing to turn away from God even if they've heard the truth, and they are riddled with demons. We have to not fellowship with these people, to not fellowship with those demons. And that's part of what I believe allows us to keep our heart open and allows us to keep being in this open, loving space, not closing ourselves down. There's no opportunity for us to be intermixing with these demons or having our attitudes, beliefs, morals potentially corrupted by people of bad character by spending so much time with them. So there's more to this. And of course that the more we heal ourselves, then we will not be affected by what people do. The more we focus on God, we will not be as affected by what people do, because we're more focused on God and we care only about God's approval of us and not about any man's approval. But we're human as well, and sometimes people, it's easier said than done not to get hurt or offended by something. But as it says in Galatians, if I wanted the approval of men, I wouldn't be Christ's servant. So we are Christ's servant. We are not here for the approval of man. So the more we heal, though, as I was saying, then the less that we will react or that we will feel a certain way about things that people do. So I just really wanted to share that with you. The main message from this is guard your heart. Yes, it's very important, but also be willing to let things go. Be willing to forgive. Just be willing to let things go. Don't put your guard up. Don't hold on to things, because there's always going to be betrayals. There's always going to be hurts in life. There's always going to be more things coming at you. We need to just be willing to let it go and forgive and focus back on God.